sex at university. So personally, the reason I want to do this video is because there's not much, and from what I've seen and what I've heard, no one really talks about how serious this is when it comes to university. So the things I want to get into to explain before is, firstly, when you come to university, it's a different kind of freedom. For example, depending if you come from sixth form or come from college, when you go to sixth form / college, you live at home. For some people, they may live somewhere different. You go in at 9 o'clock, you meet your friends, you may hang out after, and then you go home. Meeting people, obviously partners, whether sexual or non-sexual, will obviously have to be a meetup or houses or different places, or there's a bit of a step to kind of doing everything, obviously, and it comes in with your parents if you either have to do things that are not as public or as private. It all comes to a different step. When it comes to university, the freedom is you now live by yourself and make your own decisions, which means the accessibility to have an intercourse is much more easier. But when it comes to university, you have to be careful with who and where and what. And the reason I say what is, first let me start off who. You're meeting new people from across the UK and across the world. So one, you need to make sure you keep yourself protected. You need to make sure you either know the person or you trust the person. Because one thing, and it's going to be a word that not a lot of people like to hear, is obviously the 4 letters begins with an R. If you don't know what it is, it's I'm not going to say it on video, but let's just say when you don't consent to intercourse and that happens, there's something that happens at university, and it's not something that is small that happens at university. This is why I say you need to be very careful. And when you go out with your friends, you need to make sure you all watch each other, because depending on who the person's talking to or who the person leaves with, they could depend on how, if they have a good or bad night. This isn't me saying that you shouldn't go to university and obviously do what you want, because obviously this is now a chance for you to find yourself, express yourself, all different kind of ways you may want to go to university and do. Or this isn't me saying you shouldn't do it. This is me saying make sure that you have things in place to make sure you are either one, safe, and you are comfortable with where you are and what you do. And the reason I say, so we've done the who, so you don't know who it's with. The how, you will obviously have access to your own room that you can go do what you want where you want. So how is how you want to do it, and be careful with how, because depending on where you are could depend on different factors. So obviously getting into it, some people do it in weird places, weird to me, but some people do it in extravagant places. Just make sure this is all about comfortability, and make sure you're safe. And lastly, the what. Remember, you don't know what someone has before you've met them. They could lie, and you don't know who, going back to who the person is. You have to remember, when you're in sixth form in college, you're meeting other students that are your age. So we're talking 16 to 18. You may meet some people other than that. Now you come to uni, you're in the adult world. So it's 18 plus. This is no longer just your friends and family or people in the area. This is now across the world, across the local area, across everywhere. And it's a whole different ball game. You need to be careful what people put in your drinks, because it's something that happens, and it's not something you should take lightly, and something you should be very aware of, because the last thing you want to do is wake up and realize something's happened when you wouldn't want it to happen. So this is a subject I think I'm going to go more into in a video with other individuals, but I just wanted to give like a brief description of when it comes to university and intercourse.